how to solve true, false not given and yes, no not given questions in IELTS reading. That's what we want to deal with in this class. So we have already laid the foundation and we have explained the fact that IELTS reading involves solving 40 questions and you have 1 hour to do that. Okay, we said that we have different question types: gap filling questions, multiple choice questions, true, false, not given, and yes or not given questions, and then we have matching questions. So we have treated gap filling questions in one of our lessons. Today we are going to be looking at another question type or two other question types. If time permits, we might touch the third one, that's multiple choice questions, but let's work on these first two for now. So, true, false, not given questions. What are true, false, not given questions? These are questions that require you to study some statements and decide whether the statement agrees with the information in the passage or whether the statement contradicts the information in the passage or whether there is no information about that statement. Okay? That's what we call true, false, not given questions. So you're going to see a statement like what you have on the screen and look at this number 8 now. Britain's canal network. Britain's canal network grew rapidly so that more goods could be transported around the country. So this is a statement. So your job is to check the passage and see whether this statement is in line with what is in the passage. You check the passage and see whether this statement agrees with, look at what they wrote here, true, agrees with. So if this statement agrees with what we have in the passage, then the answer to number 8 is going to be what? True. In other words, did Britain's canal network grow rapidly? Did it grow rapidly? Did it grow rapidly because, or did it grow rapidly so that more goods could be transported around the country? Is this the reason why it grew rapidly? Is that what they wrote in the passage? These are things you confirm. If that's what you can confirm in the passage, then the answer to number 8 will be what? Will be true. If you can't confirm this thing that you have in number 8 in the passage, if what you have in the passage is contradicting what you have in number 8, if the point in the passage contradicts what you have in number 8, then the answer to number 8 will be what? Will be false. And if the passage does not say anything about whether the network grew rapidly or whether this is the reason, then our answer is going to be what? Not given. Okay, so this is true, false, not given. The other one is yes, no, not given. Similar, also similar to true, false, not given. If the statement agrees with the claim, it's just like this one, they write something like this: claims of the writer. So you need to study that passage closely and be sure that what? The claims of the writer aligns with the statement. Okay? Claims of the writer, claims of the writer, claims of the writer. Take note of that. Now, this true, false, not given question shows up in both IELTS academic and IELTS general. We are going to see it in both question types, in both tests, both test type. So whether you are taking IELTS academic or you are taking IELTS general, you should prepare to meet true, false, not given questions. Okay? It always shows up. Yes, no, not given questions will show up in IELTS academic. It's not very common in IELTS general. I've not seen it yet in IELTS general. Okay, so if you are doing IELTS general, you might as well ignore yes, no, not given questions. But if you really want to build up your vocabulary, it's good to pay attention to yes, no, not given questions when I'm treating the example. You will learn one or two things about vocabulary. Okay, now there's a formula that I want to teach you. There are two things I'm going to teach you before we go into the examples. This formula here is a formula for true, false, not given, and yes, no, not given questions. Now, look at it. Whenever you see your statement, I want you to try and look at the statement from two angles. Think of that statement as having two components or two parts. And then ask yourself, does the two parts agree with the information in the passage? If the two parts agree, then the answer to that question will be true. When I treat examples, you will understand better. So if one part of the passage agrees with the information in the passage, if one part of the question, if one part of the question agrees with the information in the passage, and the other part of the question agrees with the information in the passage, then the answer is going to be what? It's going to be true. If one part of the question agrees with the information in the passage, but the other part of the question contradicts the information in the passage, our answer is going to be what? Our answer is going to be false. Okay? So that contradiction will overshadow the agreement, the supporting part. Okay? Now, if both parts of the statement are contradicted, then definitely our answer is going to be false. This one is a no-brainer. This one is very straightforward. Okay? Now, if one part of the statement agrees with the information that is in the passage, and the other part of the statement, you can't really see any information. You can't see anything to support or contradict. There's no information. Then our answer is going to be what? Our answer will be not given. Our answer is going to be what? Not given. Not given means there is no information on this. Look at it here. There is no information on this. Okay? So usually what you're going to see is that you're going to see something in the statement where it says, where you're going to see that you can't really support it. There's no information. You can't say whether to support or to contradict. You can't say whether the passage supports or contradicts. So in such situations, what we pick is what? What we pick is not given. Okay? In some cases, you are going to see that one part of the passage is contradicted. Okay? You are going to see that one part of the passage is what? Is contradicted by the statement. Sorry, let me put it this way. Let me correct myself. You are going to see that one part of the statement contradicts what you have in the passage. Okay? But then the other part of the statement cannot be supported or contradicted. In such situations, what you're going to pick is going to be what? Is going to be not given. What you're going to pick is going to be what? Is going to be not given. So I want you to take note of that. Very, very important. Okay? That not giving can cause a lot of, it's very, very tricky. A lot of candidates confuse not giving and false. A lot of candidates confuse not giving and not giving and false. That's what they confuse most often. So you need to take note of that and be sure that, okay, what you are dealing with is what? Is fully supported for you to, fully contradicted for you to pick, what's it called? For you to pick false. Okay, there must be a clear contradiction. Hope you get my point. Now, what do we mean by um, not giving? Let me explain that issue of not giving in detail. Let me explain that issue of not giving in detail so that you will understand better what I'm trying to say. When we say not giving basically means that the statement has injected something that cannot be fully supported or contradicted. Or the statement has mentioned something that is different but not contradictory. Okay? The statement contains something that is what? Something that is different but not contradictory. What do I mean by different but not contradictory? Let me tell you what I mean by different but not contradictory. If I say that, let me type something here on the screen so that you will see what I'm saying. I'm going to type two statements here on the screen. If I say that the students are starting their orientation tomorrow. The students are starting their orientation tomorrow. Okay, this is my first statement. Let's assume that this statement that I've written here, let's call it statement 1. And then I write statement 2. I say that what? The students are starting their orientation. Let me put it this way. Let me rephrase this. Tomorrow, the students will take their orientation at 4 p.m. Now, look at these two statements, ladies and gentlemen. Look at these two statements carefully. Are the two statements contradictory? I want you to drop your answer in the Zoom chat. I want you to tell me. These two statements that I wrote, 1 and 2, are they contradictory? Do they contradict each other? Do these two statements contradict each other? Do they contradict each other? Anybody, I want you to tell me what you think. Do they contradict means opposite? Contradict means opposite, in case you don't know the meaning of contradict. Opposite. Do these two statements contradict each other? So if you say no, what it basically means that they don't contradict each other. Now, let's ask another question. Somebody says no, they don't contradict each other. Now, let me ask another question. Are these two statements, another person is now saying they contradict. Okay? Are these two statements, if you say no, do these two statements, do they support each other? Do they mean the same thing? Do they mean the same thing? Now, let's analyze the statement. Let's break it down. The students are starting their orientation tomorrow. The first statement is basically saying tomorrow. It doesn't give us the time. Okay? It doesn't tell us the time. But look at the other one. Tomorrow. So we saw tomorrow in the first statement, Abby. This now says the students. Yeah, we saw the students in the first statement. So that's still supporting. We'll take the orientation. Yes, orientation is also in the other statement. Okay? At 4 p.m. Now, this part that says at 4 p.m., it's like we have introduced something. We have introduced what? We have introduced something. This is what I call what? Extra information. This one also shows up a lot in IELTS reading. They will inject extra information. So in a typical IELTS reading setting, you are going to see something like what you have in number 1 in the passage. The students are starting their orientation tomorrow. And then in the question, they will not write tomorrow. The students will do their orientation at 4 p.m. And then you go and check the passage, you will not see anything about 4 p.m. in the passage. 4 p.m. is not there. But you saw that they wrote tomorrow in the passage. You saw that they wrote students in the passage. They wrote orientation in the passage. In this kind of situation, you are seeing that like 80% of the statement is supported by the passage. But then this part that says 4 p.m., you cannot see it in the passage. It's neither supported nor contradicted. What you are going to do in this kind of situation is what we call what? We are going to pick not given. Why? Because the statement has presented something that we call what? Extra information. The statement has presented what? It has presented what we call what? Extra information. Hope you get my point now. Extra information means that what? The statement contains something that is extra. Something that is what? That is extra. Something that is new. Is new, but is not necessarily contradictory. Hope you get my point. Extra information, but not what? But not contradictory. Extra means that what? If we check the passage, we can see it. We can see it in the passage. Hope you get my point now. Extra information, but what? But not contradictory. Hope you are getting my point. Let me be sure you guys are following me. I want you to drop a message and let me be sure that you are getting my point. If you understand my explanation so far, I want you to type, yes, I understand. Or if you don't understand, just type, use another example. I want you to type, use another example if you don't understand. But if you understand, I want you to type in the chat box, yes, I think I understand. I think I understand. I want to see who is following me. Let me know who is following me. Let me see if you are getting my point. Okay, let me do another example. When I treat examples, you actually understand better. When we go to passages, IELTS passages, you will understand better. But let me give you another illustration. Let me give you another illustration. Let me give you another illustration. Somebody says that, let's type something here. Let's type something here. So somebody says that Alex is going to Lagos. Okay. Sorry. My computer screen is okay. Okay. I think I get what's going on. So somebody says Alex is going to Lagos. Okay, that's my first sentence. Now look at the second sentence. Another person says Alex is going to Abuja. That's the second sentence. Now look at the third sentence. Alex is going to Lagos tomorrow. Alex is going to Lagos tomorrow. All right. Now, so we have three sentences here. This is my point that I'm trying to make. The first sentence and the second sentence are contradictory. They contradict each other. We know that Alex is going somewhere from the first and second sentence. But the first sentence tells us that Alex is going to Lagos. The second sentence tells us he's going to Abuja. You can't go to Lagos and Abuja at the same time. Those two things are contradictory. One way you know that two statements are contradictory is that those two things cannot happen at the same time. Another way to say it is what? She has a blue bag. Somebody says she has a blue bag. Another person says she has a red bag. Let's assume that a bag cannot have two colors. It's only one color. A bag cannot have red and blue colors at the same time. So those two things are contradictory. She has a blue bag, she has a red bag. Those two things are contradictory. You understand? But now look at the third sentence. Alex is going to Lagos tomorrow. Now this guy, we have added something here. Tomorrow. We have added extra information that is not necessarily what? Not necessarily contradictory. It's not necessarily what? It's not necessarily contradictory. Now let me give you one statement that is what? Different, but not contradictory. I want to show you, I want to write another statement about this Alex issue. Alex likes Alex likes traveling to Lagos. Alex likes traveling to Lagos. This is a completely different information. It's different from Alex is going to Lagos. It doesn't what's it called? It doesn't support, neither does it contradict. It's just different. It's something completely different. Another different information is maybe to say that what? Alex is sleeping. It's different, but it's not contradictory. Okay? So take note of that. This thing I'm showing you here, the thing is this. I want you to just keep this formula in mind. Okay? Keep this formula that I'm giving you in mind and apply it to your exercises. Anytime you are practicing, try and apply this formula that I've given you, especially when it comes to figuring out false and not giving. Okay? Apply it. You're going to see me when I apply it today. Another thing I want to highlight before I treat examples is what I call buzzwords. Pay attention to buzzwords. You see all these words that I've written here on the screen. They are very, very important. They can cause confusion. Many times when these words show up in IELTS reading, true, false, not given, they are designed to confuse students. And students end up picking not given instead of false, or they end up picking false instead of not given. So you need to, anytime you see these words in your passage, in your question, sorry, and even in the passage, pay close attention to them. Pay close attention to them. All right? Now let's treat some examples. So I'm going to treat from IELTS General. Let me start with IELTS General. So here we have our Cambridge IELTS. This is Cambridge IELTS 12 General. I'm using PDF version, PDF file for this one. This is Cambridge IELTS General. By the way, some people, maybe in case you are wondering, let me show you something from the website. So that's Cambridge IELTS 12 General. And then we're going to go to this particular site that we usually use for our practice, Cambridge IELTS 12 General. And I'm going to show you that it's exactly the same test. Cambridge IELTS 12 General Test 1. Look at it. Can you see Bath International Music Festival? That's what we have here. Can you see that's the same thing we have here? Bath International Music Festival. So you see it's the same thing. Okay. Look at the second one. Big Rock Climbing Center. Same thing is here. Big Rock Climbing Center. Okay. So if you are taking paper-based IELTS, it's best you download the PDF files, print out the PDF files, and practice on paper so that you can get used to the paper format. If you are taking computer-based tests, computer is usually done by people in Nigeria. People outside Nigeria have the option of choosing computer or paper. But in Nigeria, you can only do computer-based tests, computer-based IELTS. So if you are doing computer-based, it's better to practice with computer and get used to the computer thing. Okay? So let's do our practice with this paper-based what's it called? Platform. So here is our passage. Again, what are the steps? I start by reading the question. I highlight keywords and I go to the passage and then I start reading and sorting the question. So look at it. When climbing at the Big Rock Center, it is compulsory. Take note of that word, compulsory. This is also a kind of buzzword. I told you earlier on, pay attention to compulsory is also a kind of buzzword. Compulsory means it's important, it's essential, you cannot avoid it. It is compulsory. Now let's go to the passage. Is it compulsory? Did they say that in the passage that it is compulsory? So look at it. Big Rock Climbing Center is a modern, friendly, professionally run center offering over 1,250 square meters of fantastic indoor climbing. We use trained and experienced instructors to give you the opportunity to learn and develop climbing skills, keep fit and have fun. Master our 11-meter high climbing wall using a rope harness. Hold on, rope harness. That's sounding like what I saw in the question. Look at what they wrote here. When climbing at the Big Rock Center, can you see that? It is compulsory to be attached by a rope. Now, I've seen this part of rope. I've seen Big Rock. I've seen climbing. I've not seen this part of. Let's go back and check closely whether we're going to see this part of compulsory. Okay? We want to check and be sure that the issue of compulsory is fully supported. Compulsory. So let's go back to the passage now. So look at that place where they wrote rope. Master our 11-meter high climbing walls using a rope harness for unbeatable sense of achievement. So you see that in this sentence here now, this sentence that I'm underlining, let me underline it for you. This sentence here that I'm underlining, there's nothing about compulsory there. It sounds like we don't know, let me just put it this way. We don't know whether it is compulsory or not based on this part that I've underlined. We don't know whether it's compulsory or not. If I pick my answer based on this sentence, my answer will be not given because we don't know whether it's compulsory or not. But look at the next sentence, everybody. Or experience the thrills of climbing without a harness. Without a what? Harness. What does that mean? That means that I can go to the Big Rock Center today and decide to climb and say that I don't want to use rope. Another person can come and say, well, me, I want to use rope. That's what this thing means. These two sentences. That's what they mean. So what is my conclusion, ladies and gentlemen? Based on these two sentences that I've highlighted, what will be our answer to number 9? What will be our answer to number 9, ladies and gentlemen? This number 9 that we have here. When climbing at the Big Rock Center, it is compulsory. Is it compulsory to be attached by a rope? Is it compulsory? It's not compulsory. You have the option of using a rope or not using a rope. There's nothing compulsory in it. So our answer is going to be what? Our answer to number 9 is going to be false. False. So I will just write in my book, I will just write what? I will just write false. Okay, you write your answer as false. Notice what the rule asks you to write F-A-L-S-E. Don't write F. Some people will write F. Please don't write F, write false. Okay, of course, if you are doing paper-based, if you are doing computer-based, you are going to be picking, what's it called? You'll be picking the stuff. So you don't even have to write there. You just click on false. But for paper-based, please train yourself to write the correct thing. Now let's do another one. People who just want to watch the climbing can enter the center without paying. People who just want to watch, okay, can enter without paying. Those are my keywords. So let's go to the passage and check. So next paragraph now. Almost anyone can join Big Rock. Previous climbing experience and specialist equipment are not required. You can come on your own or with friends and family. Come as a fun alternative to the gym or for a special day out with the kids. If you are visiting with friends or family but not climbing, oh, take note of that. Can you see that? But not climbing. What does that mean? You just want to watch. That's what it means. But not climbing. Okay? You are visiting with friends and families, but you are not what? You are not climbing. Now look at it now. If you are visiting with friends and family or you are not climbing, but just fancy coming to look, please feel free to relax in our excellent cafe overlooking the climbing area. Feel free to do what? To relax in our excellent cafe overlooking the climbing area. Now, go back to the question. People who just want to come to the center to watch without, sorry, people who just want to watch the climbing can enter the center without paying. Can you see that we don't say anything about this part of paying? In fact, right from the beginning, there's nothing here about payment in this paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, we can't really see anything about payment yet. We have not seen payment yet. So the passage is silent about payment. So for me, this number 10 is going to be what? It's going to be not given. So our answer to number 10 is going to be what? It's going to be not given because there's no information on the issue of what? There's no information on the issue of paying. No information on that. No information on that. Okay? Now, number 3, people can arrange to have a climbing session in their own garden if they wish. You can have a climbing session in your own garden. Garden is a keyword here. Climbing session is a keyword here. If wish is also a keyword here. So let's go back to the passage. Next paragraph now. Mobile climbing wall. Available on a day hire basis at any location. That's our answer. That statement is supported. Mobile climbing wall. In other words, mobile means you can carry this thing to any location.
Anywhere.
You can carry it what? You can carry it to any place that you want. You can carry it to your office, you can carry it to your school, you can carry it to your garden, to your backyard. And that thing says any location. It's a perfect way to enhance any show, event, or festival. You can take it to a festival. You can take it to an event. The mobile wall can be used indoors or outdoors and features 4 unique 7.3 meter high climbing faces. So, what's it called? It's fully supported. Number 11. People can arrange to have a climbing session. Yes. In their own garden. Yes. If they wish. Yes. Number 11 is what? Is fully supported. So my answer to number 11 is going to be what? It's going to be true. It's going to be what? It's going to be true. Okay? I hope you guys are with me. If you are following me, let me see your message if you are still with me. Let me see your message if you are still with me. Let me know if you're still following me. So these are my answers on the right side of the screen in color red. I hope you can see my answers on the screen. Color red. Let me just check my answers for these ones and then we're going to move on to another example. This is actually the interesting thing about Cambridge IELTS, not just Cambridge. IELTS General is that it's actually easier. IELTS General is actually easier. I think I mentioned it earlier on that IELTS General is easier than IELTS Academic. So these are the answers. Number 9, you can see number 9, false. Number 10, not given. Number 11, true. Can you see that? Very straightforward. You see the way I use the formula. Let me show you how I use the formula again. It's very easy. Now, this thing is very easy this formula of a thing is very easy to master when it comes to IELTS General. Sometimes if somebody is struggling with with true false not giving, okay, and they are trying to figure out how to, if if I notice that somebody is struggling with IELTS reading, especially with true false not giving questions, okay, one of the things that I would recommend for the person is that the person should go and practice with IELTS general. Okay, let's assume that the person is taking IELTS academic and the person is struggling with true false not giving questions. I will tell the person to go and practice with true false not giving questions in IELTS general so that you can master that formula, this formula that I gave earlier on, so that you can master this formula that I gave earlier on. Okay? Especially when it comes to false and not giving. Okay? So that you'll be able to learn how to really, really analyze, what's it called? The sentences. By the time you do lots of practices, you will get used to how they trick people. Do you get my point? All right. So please keep that in mind. Now let's look at IELTS academic. So this is IELTS academic 12, Cambridge IELTS academic 12 test 5. And here is true false not given questions. Okay. We're just going to take some questions from here also. And then we're going to see how that one goes. So look at the question here again. It says that what? The cork oak has the thickest back. Take note of this word. Thickest. This is a comparative word. It's similar to those buzzwords I showed you earlier on. Remember the buzzwords I showed you earlier on? I told you about buzzwords earlier on. These buzzwords. It's a comparative word. Anytime you see a comparative word in IELTS general, just let it register in your mind as what? Has a buzzword, like what we have here now. Thickest. 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 So we need to check. It's just like saying that most beautiful, most attractive, most intelligent. Where is that word most? This thing here is a comparative word. Anytime you see it, pay close attention. Some students end up picking something else instead of picking the correct answer because of this, just because of this word. Now, let's go and check the passage. Look at the passage now. Cork, the thick back. Can you see thick back? Can you see they did not write thickest here? They wrote cork, the thick back. They didn't say thickest. So don't say that because you are saying thick, you will now go and pick true. That's error. Let's go on. The thick bark of the cork oak tree is a remarkable material. It is tough, elastic, buoyant, and fire resistant and suitable for a wide range of purposes. It has also been used for millennia. So I've not seen anything about thickest. I didn't see anything about thickest. It's the thickest bark of any. There's nothing like thickest. So my answer to number one is what? Not giving. You see, when you pay attention to buzzwords, it's going to help you to pick the correct answer. I'm telling you, pay attention to those buzzwords. So my number one is going to what? Not giving. Not giving. Very straightforward. Okay? Number two now, let's go to number two. Number two says that what? Number two says that scientists have developed. Okay, sorry, hold on, please. Scientists have developed something. Scientists have developed a synthetic cork with the same cellular structure as natural cork. Scientists have developed what? Scientists have developed a synthetic cork. Scientists have developed, I'm smiling here because somebody just wrote something now. Somebody said that, but there was thick. This thing is simple English now. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. There was thick. Okay, there was thick. Thick is not the same thing as thickest now. Thick is not the same thing as thickest. Hmm? How do I explain this again now? It's simple English now. Thick and thickest. No, it can't be false. Because you say, why is it not false? So it can't be false because for you to say it's false, there's a clear contradiction. Okay, so let me tell you why it is not false. If you say the statement says that the cork oak has the thickest back, okay, and you pick false, If you pick false, what you are basically telling the examiner is that there is something in this passage. There is something in this passage that tells you that the cork oak is not the thickest. Something else is the thickest. Is there anything in this place that tells us that something else is the thickest? Can you answer that question? This place I just highlighted now. Is there anything that tells us that something else is the thickest back? For you to pick false, there's a contradiction. That's the meaning of false. Contradiction. Okay, that is the meaning of contra. That's the meaning of false. Look at it here. If the statement contradicts the information. Now, this statement is that what? The cork oak has the thickest back. Okay, if you say false, then there must be something in the passage that tells us that, okay, the cork oak does not have the thickest back, or the cork oak has the thinnest back. Is it there? And the question I'm asking you now is that what? Is there anything in this passage that says that, okay, the cork oak does not have the thickest back? It's not there. Or is there anything that says that the cork oak has the thinnest back? It's not there. So there's nothing to support the number one statement. Neither is there anything to contradict the number one statement. You can't say anything to support that word that says thickest. There's nothing to support it. Neither can you say anything to contradict that word. Just that one word, though. Just only that word. Nothing to contradict that word that says what? Thickest. So our answer is going to be not given. So don't get it twisted. That's why I said anytime you say comparison, don't scatter it. Okay? Don't inject a meaning that is not there. Just focus on looking for that comparison in the passage. If comparison is not done in the passage, please just pick not given. They are doing a comparison here. They did a comparison in the passage. Okay? So take note of that. Look at number 2. Scientists have developed a synthetic cork with the same cellular structure as natural cork. So let's go and check the passage. Synthetic cork. So look at it here. It is a tough, elastic, buoyant stuff. I'm looking for synthetic. Okay, no synthetic here. Next paragraph. And the cork oak itself is an extraordinary tree. The back grows up to 20 centimeters in thickness. Somebody says, thickness, is that not thickest? No, it's not thickest. Thickness is different from thickest. Don't get it twisted. Go and check your dictionary, okay? Thickness is basically telling us how thick something is. Thickest is a comparative word. I'm comparing something with another thing. Again, we are not seeing anything that compares this back to another back. Okay? Its back grows up to 20 centimeters in thickness, insulating the tree like a coat wrapped around. So I'm looking for this synthetic issue. Developed most probably as a defense against fire. Okay. Oh, I want you to take note of this place. I've seen my answer. Look at this place. I'm highlighting everybody. Developed most probably as a defense against forest fires. Who developed it? The tree developed it naturally. It was developed naturally. That's what they are saying here. Okay? As a defense against, because forest fires are natural events. So the tree developed that thing naturally. The back of a cork oak has a particular cellular structure with about 40 million cells per cubic centimeter that technology has never succeeded replicating. Do you see this part? This final part. Technology has never succeeded replicating. Now go and check the statement number 2. Scientists have developed a synthetic cork with the same cellular structure as natural cork. Is that supporting this part I put in color? Does it support or contradict it? Who can tell me? Anybody? Does it support or contradict it? It's contradicting it. Thank you. It's false. This passage tells us clearly that technology has not yet replicated this structure. Technology has not yet replicated this structure. That's scientists. Technology is a paraphrase for scientists. You see the way they paraphrase for us. Paraphrasing. Scientist is paraphrase for technology. Developed a synthetic cock with the same cellular structure. Is a paraphrase. Everything here, this whole thing here, is a paraphrase for replicate. Replicate. They use the word replicate in the passage. So my answer to number 2 is going to be what? My answer to number 2 is going to be false. Number 2 is going to be what? Number 2 is going to be false. Then number 3, individual cock oak must be left for 25 years. Take note of this, 25 years, between the first and second harvest. So let's go and look for 25 years in the passage. 25, I can't say 20, 20, 40. Now look for text. Sometimes they write in text, they write in words. 400, 800, 20th, 200, 25. See 25 here. So let's pay attention. Let's pay close attention here now. From the planting of a cock sapling to the first harvest takes 25 years. Oh, look at it now. Can you see this part where they wrote 25 years? From the planting. So if you plant the cock today, the cock sapling today, okay, and then you want to harvest, the first harvest will not happen until after 25 years. Now look at the next sentence. And a gap of approximately a decade. What is the meaning of decade? Who can tell me? What is the meaning of decade?
$10.
Thank you very much. Decade stands for 10 years. Very correct. Decade stands for 10 years. So a gap of approximately a decade must separate harvests. In other words, if you harvest in 2010, you cannot harvest again until 2020. And then you cannot harvest again until 2030. And then you cannot harvest again until 2040. That's what they are saying here. A gap of approximately a decade must separate harvest from an individual tree. Now let's go and check that statement. So the statement says that what? Individual oak trees must be left for 25 years between the first and second harvest. So based on what I explained earlier on, is this number 3, is it true or false or not given? Who can tell me? Is it true or false or not given? What is the answer? True, false, or not given? What is the answer to this number 3? True, false, or not given? Ladies and gentlemen, who can tell me? Number 3 should be false. False. Why? The figure is not 25. The figure is 10. This is the problem. This is the problem here. The figure is 10. From the passage, our answer should be what? Our answer should be, what's it called? The number of years should be 10. But here we have 25. So our answer to number 3 is going to be what? Our answer to number 3 is going to be false. Number 4, cockback should be stripped in dry atmospheric condition. Let's go and check. Stripped is the keyword for me there. And then dry atmospheric condition. So I can see stripped there. If the back is stripped on a day when it is too cold or when the hair is damp, hold on, let's go back. You even have to wait for the right kind of summer day. Summer means it's hot. It's hot. That's one distinguishing feature of summer. Okay? If the back is stripped on a day when it's too cold or when the hair is damp, what is meaning of damp? Damp means that the hair contains water. Damp means that what? The hair contains a lot of what? A lot of water. So you see that we are seeing a contradiction now. That tree will be damaged if you strip it whenever the hair is damp. You get the point now. Now look at the question. Look at the question again. Cock should be stripped in dry. Yes, don't strip it in wet weather. Dry atmospheric conditions. So our answer to number 4 is going to be what? Number 4 is fully supported. Number 4 is going to be what? Number 4 is going to be true. Okay, let me check my answers for this one. Number 4, true. Number 4 is true. So this is test 5. Let's check test 5. Okay, number one, not given. Number two, false. Number three, false. Number four, true. All my answers are correct. Can you see that? You see the way I've used the formula carefully to analyze my what? To analyze my questions. Okay? Now let's treat one add a tough version. A tough version of true, false, not given. A tough, yes, we didn't finish. We finished. We'll do another one. We have so many questions to deal with today. We are going to somebody is thinking that why didn't you finish? I don't need to finish it. If you want to finish it, I'll send you the question, you finish it yourself. Okay? So let's treat another question, ladies and gentlemen. Let's treat a tougher question. Let's treat a tougher question. Anytime you face part three questions, okay, just know that you're dealing with a tough question. This question you have on the screen now is a tough question. This is a part three question. IELTS, what's it called now? IELTS academic, part three questions. They are usually tough. See another one here. Either part three or part two. So that, because sometimes analyzing those part three questions can somehow be very, very challenging for people. See, yes, no, not given questions here. I'll treat that one later. What's it called now? Okay, yes, no, not yes, no, not given again. Okay, let me just go to that last one. Let me go to that first one I saw. Oh, it's even yes, no, not given. Okay. I want to do a tough true, false, not given. Let's do this. Let's do a tough. I want to do a tough true, false, not given. After that, I will now treat yes, no, not given. I'm looking for a true, false, not given that is hard. Either passage 3 or passage 2. This is yes, no, not given. Okay, passage 2 here. Do the following statements agree with the information given in reading passage 2? Bingham went to South America in search of an Inca city. So this is my keyword. Bingham is a keyword here. Went, that's another keyword. South America, that's another keyword. Okay. South America is another keyword for me there. Then in search of Inca city. So this is the reason why I went to South America. He went to search for what? He went to search for an Inca city. Okay, he went to search for an Inca city. So let's go to the passage now and check. We scan from the beginning carefully. I can see Bingham here. And then I'm looking for Inca. See Inca here, Inca civilization. So let's study it closely. Inca. Okay? When US explorer arrived in South America, he was ready for what was to be the greatest achievement of his life, the exploration of the remote hinterland of West Cusco, the old capital of the Inca Empire. His goal, now pay attention everybody here. His goal was to locate the remains of a city called Vitcos, the last capital of the Inca civilization. Can you see that? That was his goal. Now look at the statement again. When Bingham went to South America in search of an Inca city, that's fully supported. He went to search for, what's the name of that Inca city? Where is it now? His goal. Vitcos, that's the name of the city. Inca, last capital of Inca civilization. So it's fully correct. He went to look for that city. He went to locate the remains. He went to search for it. So my answer to number 21 is going to be what? Number 21 is going to be true. Number 21 is going to be what? Number 21 is going to be true. Okay? Number 22 now. Bingham chose a particular route down the Urumbaba Valley. This is a keyword for me here. Why is it a keyword? Because it's a proper noun. Anytime I see proper nouns, they jump at me as keywords because it's easy to locate them in the passage. Okay? So he chose a particular route down the Urumbaba Valley because it was the most common route used by travelers. So because, take note of that. This is another important buzzword in IELTS reading. Because is another very, very important buzzword. So let's go to the passage. See Urubaba here in second paragraph. Now let me allow you guys to read this paragraph. I want you to read this paragraph and tell me the answer to the question. Let me copy the question and put it by the side. And then you tell me the answer. You tell me the answer. Let's put it here. So this is our passage here. This is our paragraph B. And then here's the passage. Here's the question. This is the question here, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to tell me, based on this stuff that you are saying here, what is the answer to number, what's it called? To this statement. What will be the answer? Is it true or is it false or is it not given? What will be your answer? What will be your answer, ladies and gentlemen? Who can tell me? Anybody? I'm waiting. Oh. Who has solved it? When Bingham and his team set off down the Yorubaba in late July, they had an advantage over travelers who had preceded them. A track had recently been blasted down the canyon to enable rubber to be brought up by mules from the jungle. Almost all previous travelers had left the river at Olitantambo, and they are taking a pass across the mountain to rejoin the river lower down. So they are describing the routes taken by previous travelers. Okay, that's what they are describing here. But that's not the route that this guy used, because this place they wrote what that he had an advantage. That means that this guy used another route. Okay, look at it. Let's finish it up. He says that what taking a high pass across the mountain to rejoin the river lower down, thereby cutting a substantial corner, but also therefore never passing through the area around Makupiku. So they used a different route. They didn't use the route that previous travelers used. So the Binga chose a particular route because, now what is the reason that he chose that route? This statement says that he chose it because it was the most common route. No, he did not even use that most common route. He used a different route. So you see that this statement is contradicted. 100% contradicted. 100% contradicted. Our answer is going to what? Our answer is going to be false. He didn't choose it because of anything. He chose a different route because probably it was easier. You understand now? This thing clearly says he had an advantage over travelers because a track had recently been blasted. And then they described that old route. So he did follow this old route. He followed a different route that has just recently been what? Recently been blasted. Do you get my point now? So my answer to number what now? Number 22 is going to be what? Is going to be false. So let's write it down. Number 22. So number 21 earlier on was true. Number 22 is false. Now, number 23. What do we have here? Bingham understood the significance of Makupiku as soon as he saw it. Understood the significance. Makupiku, as soon as, this is another buzzword, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see buzzwords I'm showing you? As soon as means that what? Immediately he saw it. Not like he understood the significance 3 years later, or 2 weeks later, or 1 day later. No, as soon as means what? The moment you saw it, you understood the significance. So pay attention. This is another important word. Another very important buzzword. Now let's go back to the passage. Go back to the passage. So here we have, I'm looking for that Makupiku. So this is our, okay, there's no Makupiku here. See Makupiku here. See Makupiku here. So let's read this closely. Bingham writes about the approach in a vivid style in his book. First, as he climbs up the hill, he describes an ever-present possibility of deadly snakes capable of making considerable springs when in pursuit of their prey. Not that he sees any. Then there is a sense of mountain discovery as it comes across great sweeps of terraces, then a mausoleum, followed by monumental staircases, and finally the grand ceremonial buildings of Machu Picchu. It seemed like an unbelievable dream. The sights held me spellbound, he wrote. Hold on, let's go back a little bit. So look at this place here. Look at paragraph C. On July 24, a few days to their descent of a valley. So they are describing what happened on that day. Let's read it closely. The day began slowly with Bingham trying to arrange sufficient moves for the next stage of the trek. His companions showed no interest in accompanying him to the nearby hill to see some ruins. Ruins. Take note of that word. That the local farmer, Melko Atega, had told them about the night before. The morning was dull and damp, and Bingham also seems to have been less than keen on the prospect of climbing the hill. In his book, can you see that's all? Everything here is about what happened on that very day. Now look at this next part. In his book, so this man wrote a book about his experience. He most likely wrote this book later, maybe 3 weeks later or 3 years later. We don't know when he wrote a book. In his book, Lost City of the Incas, he relates that he made the ascent without having the least expectation that he would find anything at the top. He wasn't expecting anything. And then the next paragraph that tells us the feeling that he was having as he was climbing up the hill. Okay, now look at this part. Then there was this sense of mountain discovery as it comes across great sweeps of terraces, then a mausoleum, followed by monumental staircases, and finally the grand ceremonial buildings of the Machu Picchu. Okay? So now look at the next paragraph. We should remember, however, that the Lost City of the Incas, this is the name of the book, is a work of hindsight, not written until 1948, many years after his journey. So you see, everything that he wrote here is what? Is something that he was beginning to appreciate after he had gone there many, many years later. Look at the statement, ladies and gentlemen. Bingham understood the significance of Machu Picchu as soon as he saw it. Did he understand the significance immediately he saw it? No. It was many years later. Look at it. His journal entries of the time revealed a much gradual appreciation of his achievement. It was later. It wasn't immediate. Do you understand? Look at this next part. At this stage, can you see that? Bingham didn't realize the extent or the importance of the site, nor did he realize what use he could make of his discovery. Can you see that? He did not understand the significance immediately. No, he did not. So our answer to number 23 is going to be what? 23 will be false. 23 will be what? False. 23 will be what? Will be false. False. Okay? This one I will have picked false 2 times. I will have picked true once. Our last answer will most likely be not given. Our next answer will most likely be not given. You see what I just did now? This is one of the things I call tactical guess. If I was in the exam hall, listen to me, and I was running out of time, I will not read anything for my 24. I will just pick not given. I will just jump to the next question because of time. That's one of the things I call what? Tactical guess. And you do that kind of thing if you are running out of time. Okay? But then let's solve it. Why am I picking not giving? Because I've not used not giving at all. And usually, in a set of questions, you should use all of these 3 options at least once. That's the common trend, especially if you have at least 4 questions. But let's check and confirm. Bingham returned to Machu Picchu in order to find evidence to support his theory. In order to find evidence. So let's go to the passage. Hold on, let me check something. He returned to Machu Picchu. So this thing says he returned to Machu Picchu. So what I'm saying here is that what? He traveled to Machu Picchu the first time, went back to his country, and then after some years, he returned to find evidence to support his theory. That's what this statement is saying. So let's go and check the passage. Did he return? That's number one thing I want to check. Number two is I want to check, did he return to find evidence to support his theory? So let's go to the passage. So this is where we stopped. So, however, soon after returning, it occurred to him that he could make a name for himself from his discovery. When he came to write a National Geographic magazine article that broke the story to the world in 1913, he knew he had to produce a big idea. He wondered whether it would have been the birthplace of the very first Inca, Manco the Great, and whether it would have been what chroniclers described as the last city of the Incas. This time referred to Vinca blah blah. This issue of return, I'm not seeing it here yet. There's nothing about return in this place. Let's check the next paragraph. One question has perplexed visitors, historians, and archaeologists alike ever since Bingham is why the site seems to have been abandoned before the Spanish conquest. There is no reference. Did he return? I can't say anything about return in this place. Can you guys say anything about returning? I can't say anything about return. Furthermore, the particular architecture, there's nothing about returning here. We are not sure whether I returned. The passage does not mention whether I returned or I did not return. Can you see what I meant earlier on when I said what? This place where I wrote, where is it now? Where's the buzzword now? Where is that list of buzzwords? Okay, look at this, our list of buzzwords. Oh, no, sorry, the formula, the formula. Extra information, but not contradictory. Can you see that? Extra information, but not contradictory. You see this thing here? This thing here where it says that Bingham returned to Machu Picchu to find evidence. He's not in the past, it's extra information. We don't know whether I returned or whether I did not return. It's not in the passage. If you read this paragraph F and paragraph G, we don't know whether he returned or he did not return. We know that he came up with a theory. This place here says that he wondered whether it could have been the birthplace of somebody. Do you understand? These are the theories that he came up with. These are the big ideas he came up with. That's what they are calling theory. But he did not go back. We don't know whether I went back. Don't let me say he did not go back. We do not know, based on this text, we do not know whether I went back or I did not go back. So what will be my answer? My answer will be not given. 24, not given. You see what I said earlier on? That if you are running out of time, just go and pick not given. Let's go and check our answer. So this is test. This is test what now? Test 6, number 21. Test 6, number 21. Okay, test 5, test 6. Okay, can you see true, false, false, not given? Can you see what I said? Not given. So even if I did not read that passage and I picked not given, my answer would have been correct. So that's one way to do tactical guesses, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's look at yes, no, not given. This is very similar to true, false, not given. And like I said, is common in IELTS academic. Okay, IELTS academic. So let's solve this set of yes, no, not given questions. Are you guys still with me? Let me know if you are still with me. If you are still with me, let me see your message. Who is still following me? If you are still following me, let me see your message. Let me know who is still following me. All right, very good. Thank you very much. So again, we start with our statements, start with our questions. Number 34, close scrutiny of the behavior of birds has increased since the economic downturn. So take note of the word close scrutiny. What is the meaning of scrutiny? Scrutiny means monitoring, close monitoring. Okay? Close monitoring. What are they monitoring? Behavior of bots, that's another keyword. Increased. Since is another keyword. Then economic downturn. So I'll go to the passage. I want to look for those keywords, economic downturn, and then close scrutiny. So looking at paragraph A, after a number of failures, okay, radical changes, but now this is passage 3, so I'm going to scan more slowly, because passage 3 can be very tricky. So you need to scan more slowly for passage 3. Following the 2008 financial meltdown. Aha! Can you see paraphrase here? 2008 financial meltdown is referring to economic downturn. Notice they put it in capital, they used an article for it. The economic downturn. That means it's referring to a specific economic problem, economic crisis. What crisis are they referring to? 2008 financial meltdown. Following the 2008 financial meltdown, which has resulted in a deeper and more prolonged period of economic downturn than anyone predicted and anyone expected, the search for explanation in the many postmortem of the crisis has meant blame has been spread far and wide. Okay, let's go check the passage, the question again. Close scrutiny of the behavior of board has increased. Okay, as close scrutiny increased, have they increased close scrutiny? So I've seen this part of economic downturn. The search for explanation in the many postmortem. Many postmortem. Can you see that? Many postmortem. Many postmortem. So many postmortem is a very, very important word there. Many postmortem. What's the meaning of postmortem? Postmortem means that you are conducting a research to find out why something failed. You are conducting a research to find out why somebody died or why a business failed. Hope you get my point now. Many postmortem. Very, very important word there. So look at it closely. It says that word. The search for explanations in the many postmortems of the crisis has meant blame has been spread far and wide. Governments, regulators, central banks, and auditors have all been in the frame. Have all been where? In the frame. The role of bank directors and management and their can you see again? Widely publicized failures, this thing is pointing at yes, have been excessively picked over and examined in reports, inquiries, and commentaries. The role talks about what you do. That's pointing at behavior. Role, behavior of boards. What is the meaning of boards? Boards refers to bank directors. That's a paraphrase for bank directors and management. So our answer to number 34 is going to be what? Number 34 is going to be what? Yes. Please take note of that. Don't write true. You have to write yes. You have to write yes. The statement agrees with the claims of the word of the writer. Number 35 now. Banks have been mismanaged to a greater extent than any other businesses. Can you see? What can you see here? What is happening here? Can you see our buzzword again? Greater. To a greater extent. What does that tell you about number 35? Statement number 35 is a comparative statement. For you to pick the correct answer, be sure that they are doing a comparative analysis in the passage. Greater. So let's go to the passage and check. Have banks been mismanaged to a greater extent? So look at the next paragraph now. The knock-on effect of this scrutiny has been to make the governance of companies in general an issue of intense public debate and has significantly increased the pressures on directors. So this is talking about directors, where once a board schedule may have consisted of 8. They didn't compare banks to other businesses here in this paragraph B. Banks have been mismanaged to a greater extent than other businesses. Other businesses. There's nothing about comparing banks to other businesses refers to maybe manufacturing companies, food and beverage companies. Do you understand? So I can't say anything like that here. I can't see it in this paragraph B, and I'm sure it can't be in paragraph C. But this paragraph C is about board activities. Paragraph D2 is about board activities, professional board. Can you see that? So my answer to number 35 is going to be what? Not given. The passage is silent about this issue of mismanaged to a greater extent. We don't know. We are not sure. We don't know whether the writer thinks, we don't know whether the writer agrees to it or does not agree to it. So I'm going to pick what? Not given. My answer is going to be what? Not given. Next one. Okay? The board meetings normally continue for as long as necessary to debate matters in full. Normally is a keyword here. Board meetings is another keyword. As long as necessary. Okay? Continue as long as necessary is a keyword. Debate matters in full. So let's go check the passage. Paragraph B closely, and then we'll go to paragraph C. Knock-on effect has been to make governance an issue of intense debates. Okay? The time, no, look at time now. Notice that in that question, they mentioned the issue of time. Look at it. As long as necessary is a paraphrase for time. In other words, spend as much time as you want. Can you see the way I'm identifying paraphrasing? As long as necessary is a paraphrase for time. So look at it. At the simplest, most practical level, the time involved in fulfilling the demands of the board directorship has increased. Okay? Calling into question is the effectiveness of the classic model of the corporate governance by part-time independent non-executive directors, where once a board schedule may have consisted between 8 to 10 meetings a year. In many companies, the number of events requiring a board input and decisions has dramatically risen. Furthermore, the amount of reading and preparation required for each meeting is increasing. Agendas can become overloaded, and this can mean time, can you see time again? For executive debates must necessarily be restricted. Oh, take note of this part. The time for constructive debates must be restricted in favor of getting through the business. What does that sound like? Does that support or contradict number 36? Who can tell me? Board meeting normally continue. They don't normally continue. They don't normally continue. They don't continue normally. They don't normally continue. Okay? So this thing here is what? Is contradicting what we have in the passage. Is contradicting what we have in the passage. The passage says that what? The passage says that meetings will be restricted. Look at it. Let me show you again. Where is it now? Are you guys following me? Let me know. If you are following me, please drop a message in the Zoom chat. Let me know if you guys are following me. Let me be sure you are following me. If you are with me, please drop a message. Say, yes, I am with you. If you can hear me, I want you to type a message and say, yes, I can hear you. Let me be sure you guys are with me. All right. You can hear me. All right. Thank you very much for that. Can I get one more feedback? Let me be sure you give. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, board, where is that issue of board now? Often board business. Yeah, this place here. Look at this sentence here. Agenda can become what? Overloaded. And this can mean the time for constructive debates must be restricted. Must be what? Must be restricted. That is contradicting what we have in statement number 36. This number 36 is telling us that we cannot restrict the time. It's telling us that we can continue meeting for as long as possible. So my answer to number 36 is going to be what? Number 36 is going to be no. No. 36. No. Then finally, we have number 37. Using a committee structure would ensure that board members are fully informed about significant issues. Okay, significant issues is important here. Committee structure is also important, is a keyword. Fully informed is also a keyword. So let's go to the passage and check. Committee structure, is it going to help? So look at committee here. In order to cope with the workload, which may be more efficient, but can mean that the board as a whole is less involved fully. That's our answer. The board as a whole is less involved fully. You see this part I've highlighted now. What does it do to number 37? Is it supporting or contradicting number 37? Is it supporting or contradicting number 37? Let me highlight it again. This place where it says that, this place, let me copy it and come and paste it. So if I paste it here, ladies and gentlemen, it's for number 37. So if I paste it here, what is going to be the answer, ladies and gentlemen, for number 37, based on this part that I put in color red? Often, board business is devolved into committees in order to cope with the workload, which may be more efficient, but can mean that the board as a whole is less fully involved in addressing some of the most important issues. Is it supporting number 37 or contradicting it? Or is the answer not given? Who can tell me? Anybody? Thank you very much. It's contradicting it. They will not be fully involved in significant issues. This thing says that what? They are less involved. Less involved is the opposite of fully involved. Less involved is the opposite of fully involved. So my answer to number 37 is going to be what? Number 37 is going to be no. 37, no. 37 is going to be what? It's going to be no. So there you have it. We solved question 34 to 37. Let's check out our answers. This is test 6. See it here. Test 6 says that, hold on, where's test 6? This is test 5. This is test 6, yeah, this is test 6. Hey, what am I solving? Sorry. Test, okay, it's the last test. Test 8. Test 8. Yes. No, not giving. No, no. That's test 8. So our answer number 34 is correct. Yes. 35 not given. 36 no. 37 no. Can you see that? That's test 8. Let me show you test 8. Test 8, can you see it? Test 8. So, ladies and gentlemen, the formula for true, false, not given, please take note of the formula. Practice using this formula. Solve lots of true, false, not given questions. Master it. Hope you get my point. And then pay attention to buzzwords. All these buzzwords that I showed you earlier on. Only, completely, always, majority, first, second, third, anything has to do with number. Many, most, or any comparative word like greater, thicker, sweeter, fresher, any comparative word. Fewer, after, before, best, worst. These are also comparative words, best. Because, as long as, I also saw this as long as earlier on, as long as. So these are words you need to take note of whenever you are analyzing your options, okay? So I'll wrap it up on that note. I'm going to share the link to assignments for you. True, false, not given assignments, and yes, no, not given assignments. So please take time to practice those assignments. The assignments will be plenty. plenty questions for you because I want you to really, really master this thing. Okay? Try your best to do all those exercises, and after doing them, take a snapshot of your score and send to my DM so that I can keep records of your work. So thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.